On the day of the wedding, my husband suddenly arranged for me to go out of town on business. When I rushed back, all the guests at the scene had already dispersed, leaving only a bare poster. The woman in the photo was none other than my husband's personal secretary. I was planning to go home and ask Kevin for a statement when I happened to bump into him and the secretary cheating on the couch again. When she saw me show up, the secretary, instead of panicking, made a mocking remark. "Jessica, your inferior lineage isn't worthy of Mr. Gus affairs. Let me enter the honeymoon suite tonight instead." I stood frozen in place for a few seconds, then smiled slightly at her. "The sofa is too small. Why don't you guys go to the bed?" 01 As soon as my words left my mouth, my husband sat up with a rub. "Jessica, you're just a dog that I raised, and you're threatening me, aren't you? Even if I slept with someone else today in front of you, what can you do to me? Don't think that after getting a license with me, I'm your person. There's no way I'll let you get into my bed in this life." I waved my hand with an indifferent face. "Since you have said so, then I am also relieved. Only well." Halfway through my sentence, I suddenly pulled a long note. "I still have to remind you that even if there are no feelings between me and you, at least we are still a couple in name now. If today's incident spreads out, your Fortune family's face will be completely lost." I wanted to advise with good intentions, but this self-righteous man in front of me didn't listen at all. "Surnamed Jiang, I advise you to stop threatening me with my father. In the beginning, if it wasn't because of him, would I have to marry a trophy wife like you? Now that I have successfully taken over the entire Fortune Enterprises, as the CEO, I naturally have the right to choose my wife." I tried to suppress the anger in my body, my eyes glaring at him with death. "Kevin, if that's the reason why you've misunderstood me, I'm perfectly capable of explaining myself, but you purposely sent me on a business trip out of town today, and even changed the bride to someone else. Don't you think you did wrong in this matter?" After hearing my words, Kevin's emotions suddenly flared up. "Wrong? Where did I go wrong? Surnamed Jiang. You've been freeloading in my place for so many years. You haven't contributed anything to our family. Why should I marry you?" Toward the end, Kevin directly growled at me. "If it wasn't for my father's sake, I would have divorced you long ago." Enough. I just couldn't listen anymore and roared towards Kevin. "I'm not going to bother mentioning what happened before. After all, you won't believe anything I say now. Now I just want you to give me an explanation." Saying that, my eyes suddenly glazed over and I raised my hand to point at the gloating secretary on the side. This woman. Why was she in the house? As soon as the words left his mouth, Kevin burst out laughing on the spot. "An explanation? What account do I need to give you? Get one thing straight. This is my house and you're just a dog I keep. Vivian, she's younger than you and a top graduate who came back from studying abroad. Only genes like hers can match me." I tried my best to control the urge to hit someone, and said word by word, "Gu always thinks I'm not good enough for you, right?" This time, however, without waiting for Kevin to open his mouth, the secretary at the side stepped forward. "Which? You don't take a good look in the mirror either. What makes a woman like you who only does laundry and cooking worthy of marrying Mr. Gu?" I turned my head and coldly looked at this top graduate who claimed to have come back from studying abroad. "Vivian, do you think that sleeping with other people's husbands is an honorable thing to do?" Facing my cynicism, Vivian showed no concern. "A woman can't be a trophy wife all the time, and coincidentally, my strength is far above yours. You don't have the ability to control your husband. Who can blame you?" Halfway through her words, the secretary suddenly burst out laughing, her eyes full of provocation. "Ms. Jiang, why don't you look at it this way? When Mr. Gu and I enter the honeymoon suite later, you stand by and watch, so that you haven't come for nothing today." As soon as these words came out, The eyes of Kevin on the side immediately lit up. After a moment passed, these two actually started kissing in front of me. I forced myself to hold back my revulsion and furrowed my brows. Enough. Since Mr. Gu has found his so-called true love, then I don't want to keep forcing myself. Only the price of this infidelity. Are you sure you Fortune family can afford it? 02 As soon as my words fell, the Fortune family relatives who came to haunt the honeymoon suite were instantly displeased. Who are you threatening? Our Fortune family is at least the elite family in Newport Harbor. What are you? That's right. If she is really so capable, how could she willingly be a homemaker? That's right. A woman who can't even watch her own husband is not even as good as a dog. The tirades against me around me are getting louder and louder. While I don't care at all. Because what I said just now is not a trace of exaggeration. Fortune Enterprises can from 3 years ago only a few people of the small company jumped into today's tens of thousands of employees conglomerate. All rely on me alone, or rely on me behind the power. I had nothing to do with the Fortune family around me who had no sense of humor. When Fortune Enterprises was on the verge of bankruptcy, Kevin's father, Alexander, traveled all the way from Newport Harbor to Capital City just to meet me. He knelt in front of my manor for 3 days and 3 nights, holding a letter of marriage. I saw that he was sincere, so I agreed to do it in a moment of weakness. But I never thought that I had silently supported Fortune Enterprises to such a position today. But in the end, others dislike me as a trophy wife, and now even my husband has run away with someone else. At that moment, I decided to go to Alexander to ask him face-to-face whether the Fortune family was going to turn over a new leaf. If he still continues to keep Kevin as the CEO, I don't mind letting Fortune family go back to 3 years ago. Surname Jiang. Stop right there. Just the moment I turned to leave, Kevin's voice came through. Are you just going to leave like that? I stumbled in my footsteps and slowly turned back. What? Is it hard to believe that Mr. Gu also has a special fetish and needs someone to cheer you on from the side? Kevin shot me a hard look with his eyes and spoke coldly. Jessica, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you dare to step out of my young family's door today, I'll divorce you immediately. After a moment of silence passed, I sighed softly. Mr. Gu, I'm afraid you've wanted to divorce me for a long time. Saying that, I swept my eyes across the room and spoke coldly. All of you Fortune family people who rely on Fortune Enterprises to muddle through, listen to me clearly. Anyone who dares to stop me today will suffer the consequences. As soon as my words fell, the scene once again boiled over. Anger was written all over everyone's face, and they all rolled up their sleeves and stood ready to fight. The few people who were usually closer to me also chose to clear their relationship with me. Is this the quality of their Fortune family people? Now it seems that 3 years for them Fortune Enterprises to grow to what they are now is still too fast for the Fortune family. Seeing me making enemies on all sides, the secretary's face was all smiles. Surname Jiang, do you know what you're saying? Even if you look at the entire Newport Harbor, Fortune Enterprises that is also the top of the existence. Just rely on you a district trophy wife still want to bring down the Fortune family. Simply in a fool's dream. I laughed and looked at her with a subdued expression. So what if what I'm about to say is true? Vivian raised her eyebrows. Her eyes were contemptuous, not taking what I said at all seriously. Even Mr. Gu doesn't want you anymore. How do you still have any qualifications to act like a pussy in front of all you investors? I shook my head gently, forcing myself not to laugh out loud. Vivian, I'm not like you. I, Jessica, do things and never rely on men. 03 Before I could finish my sentence, the scene exploded. Jessica, what are you? How dare you threaten all of us investors? That's right. Those who don't know think you're so powerful. But you're just a trophy wife who only relies on men. If you don't apologize to all of us today, don't think you can leave the Fortune family alive, they said while mocking me, looking very excited. As a good businessman, keen insight is a basic skill. From the moment I entered, I could tell that certain investors and secretaries in the crowd were eyeballing each other and kept arching the relationship between Kevin and me. Now it seemed that the group should have been discussing this for a long time. Their only purpose today is to drive me out of the Fortune family and let Vivian take over my position, so as to seek more benefits. Unfortunately, the new CEO of Fortune Enterprises is still in the dark, not realizing that his company is in crisis. Even I, the silent partner, can't stand to watch this scene in front of me. If I'm not mistaken, you guys should know Vivian, right? As soon as the words left my mouth, someone in the crowd immediately did not fight. What the fuck are you babbling about? We're not related to Vivian at all. That's right. We just think you don't deserve Mr. Gu, so we came out to support her. That's exactly right. A punk like him who only knows how to eat soft food is determined not to stay in our Fortune family. I swept my eyes over them and laughed coldly before speaking. Gentlemen, I fully understand your feelings of desperately wanting to drive me out of the Fortune family. But well, in the middle of my sentence, I suddenly raised my volume and my expression became much more serious. I'm a person who really eats softness but not hardness. If you guys are willing to kneel down and beg me, maybe I'll really agree. The aura that suddenly burst out of me scared these investors, and they hesitated to open their mouths. On the contrary, it was Vivian on the side, relying on the CEO's favor, who bravely stood out. Surnamed Jiang, I fucking gave you face right. You're a small trophy wife. You still dare to lecture the investors of our company. Do you not want to live? Saying that, he suddenly turned his head to look at Kevin on the side, his eyes glistening with essence. Mr. Gu, if you love me, divorce this woman. I assure you that I will do my best to properly assist you and carry Fortune Enterprises forward. I didn't open my mouth to stop her, but just stayed silent and watched her perform to her heart's content. If Kevin refused resolutely, I would consider letting the Fortune family off the hook. But if she insisted on divorcing me, it would be my fault. After a long time, Kevin slapped his thigh. Fine, I'll listen to you. It just so happens that all the investors are here today. I'm going to completely draw a line with this woman. 04 before the crowd could react. Kevin quickly turned his head to me. Jessica, let's get a divorce. I looked at him expressionlessly, my tone nonchalant. Mr. Gu, have you really thought this through? In the face of Kevin's provocations over and over again, instead of choosing to tear my face off with him, I endured again and again. It wasn't that I couldn't give up, but it was because back then, I promised Alexander that I wouldn't abandon the Fortune family no matter what, but what I got in return for my persistent concessions were countless taunts. Kevin let out a light grunt and looked at me with a face full of disgust. Jessica, you're pestering me like a piece of shit. Don't you just want money? I can fulfill you today. As long as you agree to divorce me, the price is whatever you want. I sighed deeply. No need. I'm sure it won't be long before your Fortune Enterprises goes bankrupt. I don't want you crying and begging me to pay it back by then. Saying that, I suddenly turned my words around and stared at him with a deadly gaze. Mr. Gu, I'll advise you one last time. This secretary beside you is not a good thing. She approached you with a purpose. Kevin thought that I was purposely provoking the relationship between him and his secretary. His face immediately changed. Surnamed Jiang. Don't think I don't know what's in your heart, my woman. It's not your turn to judge. Until I heard Kevin's words, the only good feelings I had left in my heart for the Fortune family disappeared. It's just that I'm a little curious about how she'll look when the truth comes out that day. Good. Since you're so sure that you've made the right choice, I won't try to persuade you anymore. I'll divorce you, provided I call your dad. Kevin thought I was just making up an excuse to try and retain him, with a smug look on his face. Jessica, don't blame me for not telling you in advance. No matter who you get to talk me out of it, I'm divorcing you today. Without waiting for her to finish her sentence, I quickly waved my hand. Good. Having your words is enough. After saying that, I directly took out my cell phone and dialed Alexander's number. Hello, this is Jessica. The tone of the caller who heard it was my voice was extra cautious. After all, he was the only one in the entire Fortune family who knew the strength behind me. MS. Jiang, what are your orders? I used my afterglow to glance at the 10-fingered dog man and woman on the opposite side of the room and spoke coldly. Alexander, from now on, you Fortune family and I have no more relationship. Immediately after that, the sound of a cup falling on the floor came from the other end of the phone. Jiang, MS. Jiang, is it my son he? I was about to open my mouth when my secretary couldn't wait to snatch the phone over. Uncle Gu, I am Mr. Gus' secretary. Jessica, the trophy wife, doesn't deserve your son at all. Please don't be obsessed with keeping her in the Fortune family, as long as you agree to me being with Mr. Gu. I promise to take Fortune Enterprises to the next level. I could feel Alexander's anger through the cell phone screen. You're the one who forced my son to divorce Miss Jiang. The secretary didn't know who she had offended at the moment and still looked hangdog. That's right. It's me, looking at the entire Newport Harbor. Only I am worthy of Mr. Gu. Jessica. She's nothing more than an unhelpful trophy wife. Leaving her, the Fortune family will develop better. After saying these words, she directly slammed her cell phone on the ground and even stomped on it a few times. Good Lord. I've seen a lot of trophy wives, but I've never really seen one as desperate as her. Okay. Now that the phone call has been made by you, it's time to fulfill your promise. The words just fell. Vivian directly from the pocket pulled out a pre-prepared annulment papers. Material I have already mentioned you ready. Hurry to sign it. Looking at the stack of documents on the desktop, it further confirmed my previous guess. This woman clearly wants to step on me to get to the top. I don't know why. But when I saw Kevin take the annulment papers without hesitation, I almost jumped up in excitement. The moment he finished signing, the door of Fortune family was suddenly pushed open. A middle-aged man with a remarkable temperament came in, panting. The scene was suddenly plunged into a dead silence, and the people at the scene were so frightened that they dared not utter a single breath. The moment the man appeared, Kevin immediately greeted him upside down. Dad, you've come at the right time. Let me introduce you to the girlfriend I just made. 05 seeing the scene in front of him. The helmsman of this Fortune family instantly realized what was going on. He didn't even take a moment to pay attention to his son, and ran to me in diameter, bowing deeply towards me. MS. Jiang, I'm really sorry. It's me who didn't educate my son well. It's a good thing that I was quick to help him up, or else I would have to owe him another favor. Elder Gu, you don't have to be so polite to me at all. I've just signed the annulment papers book. From now on, you're you, I'm me, and I'm no longer associated with your Fortune family. Alexander opened his mouth to say something, but I didn't look so good. So he took it out on his son. I heard a loud pop, and 5 bright red fingerprints instantly appeared on Kevin's face. Idiot! Do you know what you've done? Kevin was obviously dumbfounded by the slap and looked at his father in confusion. Dad, what did you hit me for? I'm just trying to pursue my own happiness. Can't you satisfy me with this request? Seeing this scene, I also just smiled slightly. Divorce is certainly no problem. It's just a pity that you're looking for the wrong divorcee. After hearing my words, Kevin immediately became furious. He had obviously forgotten the slap that Alexander slapped her with just now. Surname Jiang. I'm warning you to stop snickering to me there. Why can't I divorce you? I am at least the CEO of conglomerate, while you are just a useless trophy wife. As long as I divorce you, what kind of woman under the sky I can't find? Alexander. Due to running all the way, it was not easy to slow down his breath, and was again exasperated by his own son's words to the point of trembling. Adverse son. Hurry up and shut up. I don't care what reason you have. Hurry up and apologize to Miss Jiang. Don't blame me for not warning you. If you don't get Miss Jiang's forgiveness today, I'd rather not have you as my son. Alexander's words were convocative and powerful, clearly reaching the ears of everyone present. Vivian, who was incredibly arrogant a second ago, was blinded. I guess he couldn't figure out how such an insignificant trophy wife like me could be appreciated by Alexander. Nope. Can even use the word appreciation. It's respect. Elder Gu, you're not senile, are you? How could you stoop so low to such a trashy thing? And even get her forgiveness. Isn't she just an orphan you brought back from overseas 3 years ago? Why make such a fuss? The surrounding Fortune Enterprises investors also nodded their heads in recognition after hearing the secretary's words. Alexander was the only one who didn't think so. Perhaps to outsiders, now that he has retired from the company for so many years, he has long been too old and blind to distinguish the current situation. But I was the only one who knew that he was doing this for one reason. That is to win my favor again. And make a final effort to keep the Fortune family. I found an excellent observation position and sat down, leaving the scene in the hands of the former CEO of Fortune Enterprises for the time being. But Alexander's performance did not let me down. At his advanced age, he defiantly pointed at his secretary's nose and cursed for my sake. You're my son's new secretary, aren't you? I order you as company founder to apologize to Ms. Jiang, or I will have you blacklisted by the entire industry. After saying that, he dropped his crutches, straightened his back, and stood in front of me. Anyone who dares to speak out against Ms. Jiang again today will be directly expelled from the Fortune family and never want to come back. Alexander's words were like the last straw that overwhelmed the secretary's heart. The few investors who had colluded with him before also coincidentally buried their heads in their chests at this moment, fearing that the repercussions would reach them. Just when the scene was at an impasse, Kevin, the man who didn't know how to die, stood out. Dad, what are you doing? Before you came just now, this Jessica woman said that she would make our Fortune Enterprises close down. Why are you still favoring her? Kevin was adding fuel to his father's fire while snickering towards me. At this moment, he was still naive enough to think that if he moved out of Fortune Enterprises, Alexander would agree to divorce me. Unfortunately, he was wrong, and wrong in every way. Because from the beginning to the end, the choice was firmly in my hands. Whether Fortune Enterprises goes bankrupt or lives on after tonight is up to me. 06 Seeing that I didn't say anything, Kevin thought that I had gone soft and reverted back to my previous arrogant behavior. But before he could make his next move, Alexander's slap went up again. Kevin, how did I give birth to a son like you? Everyone could see that with this slap. Alexander used at least 80 of his strength, and Kevin's cheeks swelled up on the spot. He looked at his real father with a shocked face, and tears kept welling up in his eyes. Dad, you've never hit me with your hands even when I was growing up. Is it hard to believe that you're going to beat your own son alive today for this piece of trash? Kevin's words. Word for word, Alexander's expression gradually began to become hesitant. On one side was Fortune Enterprises, which he had founded, and on the other side was his own son. What kind of decision should be made in order to guarantee Gus' business and not let his son get hurt? The business magnate in front of him lowered his head and began to ponder. But how can I easily give up being brought cheated spouse in public? If I don't get this revenge, I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep at night. Master Gu, Have you thought about how to choose? To protect Gu, or to protect your own daughter? Please give me a final answer. As soon as my words fell, the scene that had been silent for a long time boiled up again. The investors who were previously bribed by Wang Yang felt that they had caught a chance with great difficulty and immediately stood out. Which you've got a lot of guts. Even our old CEO Gu is daring to threaten us. You don't want to get out alive, do you? That's right. I don't know who's been stirring up the Fortune family's father-son relationship. This person is simply unsettled. That's right. Our Fortune family has business all over Newport Harbor. We're not afraid of you. Are we? As the surrounding discussion became louder and louder, Alexander's face became more and more ugly. The old fox who had lived for more than half of his life was much stronger than Kevin, who was a newborn retard. He could tell at a glance that the purpose of these people standing here today was to encourage his son to divorce me. And Vivian, as the beneficiary, naturally became their bottom card. Shut the fuck up, Alexander roared towards the crowd, the aura of a superior instantly erupting. The investors in the crowd who were arching their fires were so scared that they backed up and directly hid in the furthest corner, fearing that they would be discovered. Who supported my son's divorce from Mess Jiang just now? All stand out for me. Alexander swept his eyes over everyone present, but no one ever dared to come forward. It was at this time that Vivian, who was the one who started it all, started to play smart again. Uncle Gu, please don't make things difficult for your own family. Halfway through his words, he stole a glance at me with his afterglow and continued, don't you see it yet? Everyone here thinks that this woman doesn't deserve Mr. Gu. As soon as the words left his mouth, Alexander directly raised the cane in his hand and struck Vivian hard on the head. She didn't have time to react and was smashed all over her face on the spot. Kevin, who saw this scene in front of him, was heartbroken and hurriedly ran over and knelt in front of his own father. Dad, I beg you not to fight Vivian. She is also saying these things for my good. For the good of our Fortune Enterprises. I don't even like the wife you chose for me. Vivian and I are true love. Hearing these words from his son, Alexander almost fainted on the spot. Well, you guys are going against the grain, aren't you? He pointed at Vivian, who was lying on the ground crying and moaning in pain, and said through gritted teeth, you're the woman who seduced my son, aren't you? I officially inform you as company founder that you are fired. As soon as 07's words fell, the crowd immediately caused a commotion. The few investors from before, seeing that the situation was not good, moved their steps and slowly stood out. But before they could open their mouths, Alexander directly waved his hand. Come on, people. Blast these few people out of here. After saying that, he felt that he was still not relieved, and then in front of the crowd of investors, he pulled out his cell phone. Hey, this is Alexander. Immediately help me draw up 3 buyout agreements. Give money. Give what money? Colluding with outsiders to annex my company. I don't call the police to be worthy of them. After hanging up the phone, Alexander immediately turned his head to look at the several investors who had just stood out to plead for Vivian. So it's you guys who encouraged my daughter to get a divorce. I will only give you 10 minutes to pack your bags and get out of my sight. The older investors were blinded on the spot and tried to argue, but I didn't give them a chance to speak. Worthy of the former CEO of Fortune Enterprises, this is only a few minutes to catch out the companies out of traders. Unlike some people, froze, do not realize that their own companies are almost sold, but also in the number of people counting money. I said this to Kevin on purpose. After all, I just got divorced. There are still some things that need to be said clearly, or else people will still think that I'm in cahoots with these people. But even after the words were said, Kevin still didn't feel like he was being taken advantage of. He stared straight at me with a fierce gaze. Surname Jiang. Let me tell you, I don't care what tactics you used to make my dad defend you so much, but I still have to tell you. This marriage today. I'm divorced from you. There's no turning back. A useless trophy wife like you doesn't deserve me at all. Having been scolded all night, I had also long since immunized myself to his taunts. After all, there's an old saying that you can never wake up someone pretending to be asleep. Mr. Gu, I'm afraid you've misunderstood. I never wanted you to turn back. The reason I called your father here was also just to let him take a good look at how bad the successor he trained is. As for whether you believe it or not, it doesn't have anything to do with me. After all, we've both just signed annulment papers. After saying this last sentence, I silently sat back down again. Alexander, the only one who knew the truth of the matter at the scene, couldn't wait to slap himself a few times on the spot. He crossed over Kevin, grabbed the secretary's collar, and sternly scolded, "Speak. Just who sent you here?" Vivian was stunned by Alexander's sudden momentum, and stammered for half a day without being able to say a word. Seeing this, I couldn't help but slowly stand up again. Uncle Gu, I'm going to help you one last time. As if I'm repaying the favor my father owed your family back then, I said as I walked towards Vivian. She looked at me with a face full of terror, trembling. At this moment, the gazes of everyone at the scene coincidentally landed on me. In the next second, I directly raised my leg and kicked Vivian in the chest. A miniature camera instantly fell from his body. There was also a faint red light flashing on it. Kevin, who saw the scene in front of him, was stunned as a whole. He looked dazedly at Vivian, who was kicked away by me. Why would you bring something like this when you came to my house? 08 Vivian couldn't even catch her breath from my kick. Alexander's face even had a look of hatred floating on it. What else could it be for? To steal evidence of your infidelity, of course. I actually noticed the camera Vivian had hidden in her chest from the moment I walked in the door. Only before I could say anything, Kevin, the man, attacked me like he was mad. If I'm not mistaken, this man should be sent by your Fortune family's rival. The room was instantly in an uproar at these words. Because recently Fortune Enterprises was indeed competing with an out-of-town company for a project. If the video of Fortune Enterprises' CEO infidelity is blown out at this critical moment, the consequences would be unimaginable. Uncle Gu, I'll leave this person to you guys. As for what you want to do with her, it has nothing to do with me. After Vivian heard my words, she got up with the intention of escaping, but she forgot that this was the Fortune family's territory. A single mouthful of spittle from the surrounding Fortune family relatives could drown her. Just at the moment Vivian was racked up by the crowd, Kevin still walked towards her unwillingly. Wang Qian, so you've been lying to me all along. Vivian, who was called by name, still wanted to make a last struggle. But before she could open her mouth, Alexander, who was on the side, backhanded her and slapped her. Idiot! Hurry up and shut your mouth. Don't show me your eyes here again. People are bringing cameras into the house and you have the nerve to ask if he's lying to you. Kevin had never seen his father so angry, and was so scared that he quickly retreated back the moment Vivian and the traders were taken out of the Fortune family. All the people in the room gave me a grateful look. After all, if not for me, Fortune Enterprises would have been in deep trouble. Alexander, who was the representative of Fortune family, trembled and came to me, bending 90 degrees and bowing. Ms. Jiang, thanks to you today. Otherwise. Without waiting for him to finish his sentence, I hastily raised my hand to interrupt. Uncle Gu, I said long ago that the reason I helped you was just to return the favor from back then. Now I'm done with you, Fortune family. Kevin looked at me with an embarrassed face. Jiang. Jessica, what happened before was indeed my fault. If you still want to stay in Fortune family, they'll have someone void the annulment papers right now. I looked at him with a smirk and a cold laugh before speaking. Mr. Gu, Do you think I would stay with someone who has cheated on me? Kevin was dumbfounded by the dislike, but had no way to refute it. Seeing this, Alexander carefully stepped forward. Ms. Jiang, see if this is okay. They'll let my son give you the position of CEO of Fortune Enterprises. As soon as the words left his mouth, Kevin on the side was immediately displeased. Dad, are you really senile? Fortune Enterprises is your heart and soul. How could you give him up to an outsider? Alexander glared fiercely at his own daughter, and immediately followed up with a scolding. You still have the face to ask me why. Back then, if it wasn't for Ms. Jiang's help, our Fortune family would have gone bankrupt long ago. They'll tell you again now. Without Ms. Jiang, there would be no Fortune Enterprises now. Do you understand me? 09 Kevin was stunned by her own roar. After a moment had passed, she looked at me with an incredulous face. Jiang. Jessica. Who the hell are you? What exactly happened 3 years ago? Why did my dad he kept calling you Ms. Jiang? Without waiting for me to open my mouth, Alexander was afraid that his son would say something wrong again and stepped forward. Son, do you still not understand why I wanted you to marry Miss Jiang back then? Today. But if it was anyone else, I wouldn't have said anything. But it was Miss Jiang that you offended. Didn't you keep asking me before when I would be able to take my business to Capital City? The Jiang family is the Capital City billionaire. Alexander's words threw out a loud voice, and the whole room fell silent. No wonder the Fortune family can make their business so big. It is inseparable from this Fortune Enterprises founder's thunderous decision-making. The marriage contract 3 years ago is the best answer. Kevin's mouth dropped open after hearing his father's words. Everyone at the scene looked at me with a look of awe that had changed drastically from before. Just as the crowd was still discussing my identity, Kevin tearfully knelt in front of me. Wife, it's all my fault for having eyes and misunderstanding you. I looked at him expressionlessly. Mr. Gu, you should be thankful that your dad arrived in time to save you. Otherwise there's no way you'd still have a chance to kneel here and talk to me. Kevin cowed out at me while begging bitterly. Old wife, I really know I'm wrong. It's all my fault for being tricked before. Let's start over. Okay. I promise to listen to you in everything from now on, and I'll never womanize again. Toward the end, Kevin's entire body bawled. I really didn't realize you were the benefactor of our family. I hooked my lips and slowly stood up. Kevin, once I thought you were just a bit capricious, but I didn't think you would dare to infidelity this time. If I didn't realize something was wrong, I'm afraid that you and this secretary of yours are into the finished honeymoon suite. You Fortune family better give me a lower profile in the future, or I don't mind letting you go bankrupt again. This last sentence of mine was likewise said to Uncle Gu. While showing my attitude, I was also giving face to the founder of Fortune Enterprises, who reigned over the business world. After all, it was indeed our Jiang family that owed him a favor. Or else I wouldn't have been able to agree to this marriage. The pair of fathers and sons glanced at each other and coincidentally buried their heads. Alexander couldn't help but try to retain me, only to be rebuffed by me. Uncle Gu, I've already been kind to your family, so please don't try to persuade me anymore. After saying this last sentence, I turned around and left in style. As for what the Fortune family would do in the future, it was none of my business. I not only returned the favor of that year, but also gave them Fortune family enough face. On the airplane back to Beijing, I received a text message from Kevin. The content is very simple, just a short sentence. Jessica, I'm sorry. I read it and directly chose to delete and pull the black. Years later, when I came to Newport Harbor again, Fortune Enterprises no longer existed. End of book.